When board games give us more, we're rolling with more. Hi, I'm Will, and with me as always is the Adorabelle one.
Sarah.
And today we're looking at Everdell Bellfaire Expansion. Sarah, tell us a bit about this expansion.
All right, Bellfaire adds small gameplay modules, well, that can be added to any game of Everdell. So let's specifically go over what it adds. So it does give the 5 to 6 player components, so you can play it up to those player counts. They also give you the player powers, which they're really neat, but you do lose a meeple for spring for having them.
Yes, so that means the first half of the game you're working with the 2 starting meeples.
Right.
Rather than starting with 2, then going to 3, then going to more.
Yep. There are player resource boards. These are purely cosmetic, an additional board to help you organize your resources.
This game didn't take enough table space.
If you've got more table space, go for it.
Yeah.
They add the Bellfaire board. Now for the complete collection, it has the big normal board, but then it also has a smaller one. I do not know if the smaller one is in the standalone expansion. But for this one, the large board organizes the Market, Garland Award, the Flower Festival, and then the seasonal stuff, because you do not use the tree. The big giant tree in this one.
Which is sad because the tree is very handy in keeping the giant stack of cards upright.
Right, which is why for the complete collection they have this small market board, so you can choose not to use Bellfaire board at all, keep the tree, and just have all the little components on the side, because the other stuff can be put anywhere.
Right.
So the market is a way to gain resources and pay resources for points, so it's a very neat kind of extra handy thing. The Garland Awards are an extra goal that everyone's trying to compete for at the end of the game. Whoever meets them, the requirements.
Whoever does the most gets the most points. And then
second place.
And
then there's a Flower Festival. And this is a new basic event. Again, you can use it in any game. And it wants one of each type.
Again, the types are the governance, production, prosperity, the travelers, and the destination.
Yes. And lastly, this does add more forest and special event cards. Okay, so Will, how does the 2-player experience change with the Bellfaire expansion?
It opens up the play area, especially with the market.
Right. It feels like each little part of this is kind of minor, but the nice part then is it's not adding too much in the way of complexity, just giving you more options to do.
Yes.
And yes, that market really helps because you can go and get some resources, and then towards the end of the game, pay those resources for points. So that's nice.
I also like the asymmetric powers available by the player powers, but it feels like the fun is a bit balanced out by the fact that you lose a worker. It already feels shorthanded at the beginning of every game. So losing that right off the spring, it just feels rough.
Yeah, that one's a bit rough. Accessibility, as we said, the Bellfaire board goes above the main board, and if you have a short table like us,
short dinosaur arms.
Yeah, or short dinosaur arms. You're either going to be putting stuff kind of at a weird angle or whatnot, so you may just not want to use it because it's, again, one of those not completely necessary boards where you can put the components elsewhere. Yeah, you have that choice with the complete collection. Again, I don't know if the smaller board is available in the standalone.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we get to our ratings, let's talk a little bit about what we like and don't like. And as we've discussed, of course, player powers, really neat concept. Generally speaking, I love asymmetric player powers, but I definitely did not feel the one that I had was worth losing a worker for. I know a lot of people play this where you don't lose a worker and just use the extra player power, so you can always try that home rule. I probably would do that too.
Yeah, and notice that she says she feels that it wasn't worth losing the player power, but that was actually one of the games you won. It
was one of the games I won, so I obviously managed to operate just fine. Again, a lot of this comes down to the feeling and the fun, and like Will has said, and we will continually say throughout these videos, The game is so well balanced, it almost feels like it balanced out the fun. I think there's points where they could have added and they did not need to take away.
Right.
Because here's the thing, if everybody keeps their meeple, then it's balanced.
Right.
So you didn't need to necessarily do that. Why do you have to keep going back to
But I think they
square zero?
They also realized that if you're going to have an extra power, it's easier to build out 15 cards.
That is true.
So they still wanted that pressure to be on, which is why they had to pull it back so that you still have to work hard to get to that 15 card limit.
I don't know. Yeah.
It's balanced. Is it fun? I think this is going to be the first thing that people house rule.
Yes, agreed. We obviously really like the more open feeling, that there's ability to get more resources. And I definitely feel like there's parts of this that I would use in future games, mostly the Flower Festival.
Yep.
Just having another basic event and having that market option would just be great. Just use the small board and just put it to the side. I think it would be great.
Yes. Plus, I always like having more options when it comes to the forest cards.
Yes.
So that they always stay fresh.
Agreed.
That's always fun and nice to have.
Yep, definitely. Okay, so now how this rolled for us.
All right, so our original ratings was 5 for me, 4 for you, and this is compared to the base game.
Yes.
I guess I'll start.
Go ahead.
For me, it stayed a 5.
Okay.
It opened up things in a nice way. The sad thing and the good thing was that the player powers where I was most interested in got balanced back by the loss of the meeple.
Yeah.
So that's why, even though I like a lot of the openness, I also saw that, well, it was balanced back to bring my expectations back in line, which kept me at the 5.
Yeah. And I think for me, I'm still at a 4. It's just now a high 4 because there are definitely parts of this that made the game better and that I always want to play with, but it didn't change things enough. Maybe if the player powers didn't have the loss of the meeple, but even then, even if we play the house rule where you keep your meeple, I'm still not sure it's a big enough impact to really change my rating of it.
Right.
All right, let's lastly talk about who this expansion is for. Basically anybody who wants just a little more variety, a little more options, and not much more complexity, because it really doesn't add much in the way of complicated thought processes.
Yeah, the biggest change is the loss of the meeple, which is why we keep mentioning it. It feels bad.
Yeah.
That's the roughest part. I kind of wish instead of autumn where you would gain 2 workers, if they'd made that 1 and kept 1 across the board.
Yeah, because there are times in autumn I'm just like, yeah, sure, whatever. I mean, that's how sometimes I end up with 2 or 3 people on the journey track.
Yes.
In autumn, because you're like, I don't have anything else to do with them. So that could be another way to shift it. So you still have a loss of a meeple, but it doesn't happen until autumn.
Right. When you kind of need meeples a little bit less because now your city is helping you with the engine and creating more.
Exactly.
So yeah, mostly it's you just want a variety.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think this would be a good expansion for almost anyone who is enjoying Everdell and just wants a little bit more.
Yep. All right, that will do it for us. And Sarah, in your town of Bellflower.
Yes.
Or Flower Bell?
Flower Bell.
Because Bellflower sounds like a vegetable. Flower Bell, what is the biggest festival, since that's what Bellfaire is, what's the biggest festival in your little town?
Well, I hate to take one that's already in the game, but it would have to be a flower festival. But here's the trick. You have to go and collect flowers and turn them into bells. So you have to find some really sturdy flowers out there. How about you?
For me, since my town is called Woodchuck, it's a woodchuck chucking contest.
Oh, of course.
There you go.
Yeah.
And that'll do it for us. And we've been rolling with more. And remember, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can reach out to us on the various social media platforms at
Rolling with 2. That's TWO. We are on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And on YouTube, please like and subscribe.
And if you have time, check out the other content Nanaman has found for you. Because remember, he's rolling with you.